Greetings, dear ones. It is late Sunday afternoon, the 15th of November, and I am coming to you with such a sense of joy and peace and contentment in my heart. I have had a very, very busy work week. 2.5 months on Patreon, and everything seems to, we seem to have hit a bit of a tipping point. You know, the community is coming together and it brings me so much joy. I do want to remind you, I changed the date. Sorry about the wobbly stand here. I changed the date for the free content from Tuesday to Monday. I kind of did some rescheduling. So if any of you anywhere would like to see some of the Patreon content for free that I'm going to make public, I'm going to do that once a week. It's a closed community for women only, but I do a morning coffee video 5 mornings a week for my patrons. And I have another tier that's all about the art, and another one that is the creation of an ebook and e-course in one. The students get pages each day, and that's about the art of accepting what is. So there will be material from each of those tiers in one of the morning videos tomorrow and ongoing on Monday, free and public. So you'll see that video here on YouTube, and I will have a blog post up, which you can check in with my blog post and all over social media. I will be putting a notice out about the free content. So I just wanted to say that at the beginning, because I'd forget otherwise. And all the links to everything, my blog, my website, Patreon, everything that I do, and in any way you might want to get in contact with me, those are at the bottom of this. You get a little note, a little email thing, or notes about the video, and then all the links are below that. Okay, I hope you've been having a good week. It is such a challenging time for all of us, that today, first of all, I put out a post in Patreon and all over social media. I have 4 pages on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. My work goes out to all those places. But I made a graphic, kind of pretty graphic. But here's what I wrote it down so I'd remember it. But it said, in the face of the ongoing COVID crisis, just past the election, and living with the aftermath, with the holiday season about to begin, and whatever life stresses you already have, tell me, what do you need right now? In your heart, in your home, in your life. And I wrote, let's talk about this. I wanted to engage people to start feeling like they had places to share their feelings right now, because it's scary and baffling and confusing and overwhelming with all those things for all of us. So I wanted to open a dialogue, and I answer everybody that writes to me, as I will here on YouTube after my videos. So please write me with your thoughts or comments. I would love to get to know you better. I would love to answer you, because I believe this channel on YouTube can become a very loving, supportive community. I thank you all for being here and for watching. And as I've said, I've kind of gotten, this is the 3rd time I've done it, very excited about doing this blog and video work in a whole new way. My blog's 14 years old, It's had over 2,021,000 something visits. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And the engagement with my readers has always been very, very important to me. I answer everyone in a very loving, compassionate, non-judgmental way. And I want to provide that still ongoing on my blog, through my social media content, and now here with all of you, men, women around the world. So having thought about this and asked people, what is it that you need right now? Let's talk about it. Something came to me. And as I said, part one is the part one is the blog post, and you'll have that link below so you can go read it. And part two is what I share here on the video. And of course there's overlap. But as I said before, the wonderful thing about doing this is that in the blog post, when I'm writing, I'm a lifelong writer, I am able to clarify my thoughts and feelings and what I want to say, so that when I move to the part two, the video, I'm able to really speak more from the heart and expand perhaps on what I wrote in the blog post. And the blog post is about something that I have taught in the past, but called compassionate listening. And the title of the blog post is Compassionate Listening, and What Do You Need Right Now? And what I said in the blog post and what I want to share with all of you is what compassionate living is all about, and listening, compassionate listening, and why it is so important for us now. Because COVID has created a world where we cannot gather with our family, our friends, even co-workers, all kinds of people that we were used to seeing and engaging with in our lives. It has become very scary and lonely and disorienting, and some have just totally withdrawn for lack of knowing what to do, and are really experiencing a sense of despair. They are holding so much, so many of us, maybe all of us, are holding so much inside that we're about to burst from carrying these feelings that just, will run over in tears, and a feeling of barely being able to breathe, and heart pounding, and panic attacks, and it's just all too much. The COVID, the election, and here come the holidays, which are all complicated because of COVID. And I, like many others, am sad because my out-of-town children, I have two of my children and their families and my little grandchildren are out of town. We have found Zoom, the video platform, life-saving. We meet regularly on Zoom as a family, or us women, my daughters and my daughter-in-law, to talk, to catch up. And we're right now trying to figure out how to do Thanksgiving and Christmas on Zoom. We will meet at some point as a family. There's that. And there's the phone. And, of course, many outlets online. But the thing that I ask in this post is that, in a frantic sort of way, when we are able to engage with one another, it's almost like we're talking so much, so fast, just spewing everything, and you're spewing at me and I'm spewing at you, and we're trying to get everything out because we've held so much inside, and nobody can really listen to anybody because they're trying to get their own points across, etc. And I think you know what I mean. So, compassionate listening. My practice of teaching compassionate listening started in my journal classes. I have taught for 40 years a very gentle, healing journal writing practice that I have taught to thousands of students over 40 years. In my class, because like most of this type of class, we write, we read our writings, we write, we read our writings, and so on. But there's a very special process to how I handle this and what I allow. It comes from the Zen tradition of a stillness and a sense of quieting the mind. And that is that we write, and then when it comes time to reading, and people are nervous about reading at first, so I have a group of 3 exercises, 10-minute exercises that we write before we read. So, I make it so that there's at least one that's easier to share, not so deeply personal. So we go around after each period of writing exercises and everyone reads something. Now, the way that I handle this is very different than many people do in a writing class. This is not writing so that you will get feedback, critique, whatever. This is writing so that you can stand up with who you are, develop a great confidence in yourself, in your life, in your experience, in what you have to say, and so that you can become more comfortable in your own being without having to have people around you tell you you're okay, pat you on the back, say, oh, that was great, whatever. We all like to hear that. I like to hear that. But in this practice, we go around the room when someone reads and no one is allowed to comment or say anything. We are holding the space, the sacred space, for someone to read. It is with silent respect that we are listening. It is compassionate listening. When the person finishes reading, I say, good. Thank you. And that doesn't mean good versus bad. That doesn't mean, oh, your writing was so good, like a compliment. It's not that at all. It's good. Thank you for sharing yourself with us. Thank you for allowing us to witness this moment with you. And it's also a good thank you to all of the participants, all of my students in the room who have been practicing compassionate listening. And eventually, it's a little awkward for people at first because it's not the way they're used to doing it, but after a while they say, it feels so good to know that they can read what they wrote, that no one's going to judge them. It just is what it is. And that moment is sacred. And everything you read, no matter what it is, no matter in what way you've written it, it is a moment of your life. And it deserves respect. So in a silent, respectful way, we support the reader with our presence. And then after I say good, thank you, we allow just a moment of silence for respect, and then we go to the next person. So that is what I have taught for decades. And it came to me today that what we really need in these trying, painful, scary, overwhelming times is to have a way to put our burdens down, at least for a moment, for a little period of time. And what I mean by that is that you can develop compassionate listening with a friend, a family member, any relative, co-worker, anyone that you come in contact with. You can tell them about compassionate listening. And the way that it works is that you sit with them now with the COVID. It might be on the phone, it might be on Zoom, or if you are able to do an outdoor, socially distanced, safe meeting, you might be having a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, whatever. You agree that you will take turns. One person speaks. The other person is silent. You don't try to run in with all your thoughts and keep interrupting them and telling them this and that, responding to what they're saying. You sit quietly. You hold the space. You bear witness. And you listen with your heart wide open. And for that period of time, you set your burdens aside. You let them go. They don't exist in that moment when you are listening to the person who is speaking. Allow them to get out everything that's in them. If it's a rush of thoughts, if it's a river of feelings, everything that they're going through, that they're afraid about or concerned about or don't know what to do about or how to move forward, or they're afraid about this and what about the holidays and what's going to happen with this, that, and the other. Just allow them to speak. As long as it takes, let them get it all out. And you're sitting quietly. And you're listening deeply. And you're paying attention with your full heart. And you are feeling everything that they're talking about. You are feeling, and further, I live alone, but many live with a partner, a spouse, children, families, whatever. And they still, in their own hearts, surrounded by people, feel so alone. Many who are parents and have children, or older parents, or co-workers that they manage or whatever, have felt the need to stay strong, keep their chin up, put out a positive attitude to make other people feel better. All the while they are bubbling over with so many feelings that have nowhere to go that they are just about to burst. In this practice of compassionate listening, when they are allowed to speak without interruption, without judgment, without you coming forth with all your good ideas, well-intentioned though they certainly would be, you zip your lips and you listen. And they can tell by the look on your face that you are sincerely, deeply listening to every word they say, that you are very present with them. And finally, when they run out of steam and get it all out, just take a deep breath with them and sit quietly Don't try to solve their problems, because really you can't. Whatever little things we can do to be helpful or supportive now, most of us are trying to do, but there's precious little with lockdowns and social distancing and wearing our masks and everything that we have to do, we are not able to do with and for others as we would like to and as we would normally do. The gift of this practice is not anything you do, not anything you say, comments back to them, trying to find solutions to their problems. None of that is helpful. Allowing them to speak without interruption, as long as they need to, unloading everything from their heart like a release valve was opened and everything just flooded out until they were empty. And after a breath, you both take a breath. And after a moment, you could say something like, "Thank you for sharing all of that with me. I really appreciate your openness and trusting me to be here with you in this." You might say, "If there's any way that I can help, let me know." Or you can say, "I am here to listen when you need to talk." You might set regular, compassionate listening practices in place. Make regular dates to do it, once a week, once a month, whatever works for you. Because in that way, when the first person has spoken, and you've allowed a moment, and you've taken a breath, and you've thanked them for their sharing, then you will both find a moment of equilibrium where you feel comfortable and as though you have gently come to closure, and then the other person speaks, and you do it the reverse way. I cannot tell you how healing, how helpful it might be the first time you feel like you've taken a breath and let it all out. A sense of peace and relief that you may not have felt in some time. And it can't solve all the problems, and it won't make everything wonderful forever, but it can give you a period of time where you can kind of relax, get back on your feet, and feel a sense of being able to move forward with a greater sense of ease. I hold this practice as a very sacred practice with my students, with a family member, friends. It's magic. It's powerful. It's profound. So that's what I wanted to share with you all this week, compassionate listening. And the other question, what do you need right now? I am here to listen as well. You can write comments here below the blog post. Video. Doing the blog post and video together is a little confusing. Write and I will answer you. In this time, when we are all carrying so much, and we often feel so alone, we need to know that we are indeed not alone. I'm here with you and for you, and I will answer you in the comments or If you read my blog, you can comment after the blog post or anywhere I've posted on social media. I post regularly on Instagram, on Facebook. So I don't know what's wrong with my camera. It's like wiggling and jiggling. Something must be loose, and I do apologize. Had a little trouble getting things set up. I am still, as you can see with the pillow behind my head and everything, I still am recovering from this injury. I fell 3 weeks ago and injured my foot and ankle quite badly with torn ligaments and the whole 9 yards. So I am spending most of my life in this recliner with my foot up in the air on ice. Anyway, my son-in-law, my daughter and son-in-law popped by today for a minute. He's a physical therapist, a doctor of physical therapy. So he checked my foot. He said it's getting better, but there's still a fair amount of swelling, and it's going to take a while. So I keep myself very busy in my chair here. I have my laptop computer. I have a notepad always next to me, sketchbooks, books. I do a lot of work online. I'm doing a lot of work for Patreon now, and I love it. It is the home that I've been waiting for. It is the community that I need. It is the place that supports me bringing these videos to you. So thank you. If you are one of my patrons, you have my heart and my deepest gratitude. Becoming a patron at Patreon helps me get Maisie's work out. Maisie is the character that I draw, and it is all about Maisie's world, which is far more than just the art. It is a philosophy, it is teachings, it is a way of living your life, and it is all about, despite whatever limitations you might have, and as I've said in previous videos, Maisie and I are both agoraphobic with mental health challenges. Maisie is ageless. I don't put an age for her. She's for all people, but I'm 66. And I'm a disabled senior citizen, and I live on Social Security. But given what seem like a lot of limitations to some people, I have created a life that I love. In my colorful little cottage with twinkly lights everywhere, you can see pictures like on Instagram or Facebook if you follow me there. Again, all links below. But Maisie, that I draw and paint, and for whom I am in the process of making a book, which is why I started Patreon and what my patrons are helping me do, support me, is all about helping all people, despite race, gender identity, age, anything you can think of. It's possible for us all to find our dreams in perhaps a revised way from the ones we've had before, because we are who we are right now, today. That's part of Maisie's message, part of what I teach in Patreon about the art of accepting what is. You accept what is, and you build from there amazing worlds that you heretofore could not have imagined. And to that end, since it is a women-only community, I started doing these Sunday videos so I could reach men, women, everyone, everywhere. But now I'm going to be sharing content once a week, so you'll hear what a morning coffee video is like. You'll see what some of the material I produce for the second and third tier, which Patreon is levels, $5, $10, $20 a month. For each successive tier, you get more content. The second tier is all about the creation of Maisie's art in her book. The third tier is, like I said, the ebook and e-course, live and running, being created and it's really going well. But it's also a community, a loving, gentle, kind, supportive community. And Lordy, we need that now. So stay tuned for the free content tomorrow. Check my blog, my website, my social media. Check the links below. You'll find your way there. The free morning coffee video will be here on YouTube, on this channel tomorrow after I record it. And I want to thank you so much for watching these videos, for the kind comments that I'm receiving both here and privately and in all different sorts of ways. It means so much to me. And if I could ask you finally to help me grow this little channel of mine, the kind of the little engine that could, if you would hit the thumbs up video for like below the video and hit the subscribe button. It just means the world to me, and it would help me so much. And finally, because people have asked, not pushing this, it's because people have asked, if they're not going to be on Patreon, where people support me with a little financial contribution so I can do my work, there is a tip jar. The link is just a PayPal. The link is at the bottom with the links below this video. It's also on my website. If you read the blog, it's way down in the bottom of the right side. Also, I wanted to tell people that this is a link that I have forgotten to put, and I'm going to add today with the links, and that is from my mailing list. If you join my mailing list, you get notices about all the blog posts that go out, all the work that I'm doing, all different kinds of work, and I would love to have you as part of the list. You'll learn when videos are going up. Lots of good things on that list. So I'm going to put my mailing list information too. I'd love to have you join the list. All right, my loves. Have a lovely Sunday evening. A beautiful week ahead. Know that you are not alone. You are loved. You are enough just as you are. You are perfect just as you are. Thank you for being with me. I'll see you next Sunday.